Rise and shine, Hoosiers. Welcome back to Bloomington Breakfast Club. I'm Gabrielle Balanson.
And I'm Lydia Knoll. We have the latest sports stories, entertainment buzz, and campus news coming your way within the next few minutes.
Later on, you will get the inside scoop from the BuffaLouie's owner himself. Ed Schwarzman will be joining us in our studio to talk about everyone's favorite Bloomington wing spot.
I'm so excited. Stay tuned. Now for our weather update. Gabrielle, will it be as hot this week as it was last week?
No, not as hot as it was last week, Lydia, but not your typical February weather either. Get your umbrellas and rain boots out, Hoosiers. It will be a rainy day today with a high of 50 degrees.
The rest of the week will fluctuate from upper 40s and 50s to mid 60s. Your weekend will be filled with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the upper 50s. Basketball season is over for our women's team. After a disappointing loss to Nebraska last Sunday, the team bounced back to defeat Iowa at home on Wednesday. The game happened to be their senior night and recognized the hard work and dedication of seniors Carly McBride, Alexis Gassian, Taishi Towner, Amber Dean, and Jen Anderson. The night was certainly one to remember as the game went into double overtime. All 5 starters had double-digit points, led by Tyra Buss with 21 and Jen Anderson with 20. Carly McBride blocked an Iowa 3 at the very end of the second overtime to give the Hoosiers the victory, 80-77. Although the regular season is now over, the team still has the Big Ten tournament to look forward to next weekend. Your men's basketball team, on the other hand, do I really have to talk about it? It's kind of a touchy subject, but their Iowa game last week didn't end quite like the women's game. However, they did take Iowa into overtime. Iowa managed to walk away with a 96-90 point victory in the end. Indiana basketball is not the only team that has flipped its season on its head. Men's tennis went from being undefeated early in the season to a 4-game losing streak. Hopefully they can dig themselves out of this rut before they play Big Ten Indiana rival Purdue later this week. Off the beaten trail a little bit, your water polo team came off of a 5-game winning streak as they entered this weekend's Hoosier Invite, competing in 1 game on Friday and 2 on Saturday. They won't play again until March 3rd. Your Indiana men's wrestling crushed number 18 ranked Appalachian State last week with a score of 21-12. The Big Ten tournament begins next weekend for your boys. Finally, track and field is dominating their indoor season right now. Currently, the men's team ranks 10th nationally and the women's team ranks 16th. As they head into their indoor Big Ten tournaments, the men currently hold the number 1 seed. Impressive performances for the Hoosiers include the men's 800-meter team led by Daniel Kuhn. The men also posted the nation's best distance medley relay time this past weekend at 9 minutes and 28.14 seconds. The women's distance medley relay also made headlines last weekend. They posted a new school record and the 12th fastest time in NCAA history. Can you believe that, Gabby? Oh, with 10 minutes and 55.94 seconds. Congrats to both of the teams, and tune in next week to hear from a special guest from the track and field team. Gabrielle, hopefully you can provide us with some more information on the news side. That's also some good news.
Of course. Well, Lydia, I wouldn't Call this next update good news. Provost Robel has officially declared a mumps outbreak on campus. 5 total cases have been confirmed since December of 2016. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have declared that mumps cases are at a 10-year high nationwide. The university is working closely with the Monroe County Health Department and the Indiana State Department of Health and are coming up with measures to help prevent further circulation of mumps. The community should be aware of symptoms, transmission, and prevention. Provost Robel stated, quote, "The university encourages university members to check their vaccination records with their primary care provider," end quote. She recommends that students who have symptoms should stay home and call before going to the IU Health Center, even if they have received a MMR vaccine in the past. In honor of the 89th Annual Academy Awards that took place this past Sunday, here are some Oscar Fast Fun Facts. There are 24 categories in which actors, movies, and production teams can earn nominations.
4 African-American directors have been nominated for Best Director Oscars, and 7 African-American actors were nominated in 2017.
Meryl Streep has the highest record of Oscar nominations for a single performer. She has been nominated for 20 Oscars throughout the years.
The longest Oscars in history ran for 4 hours and 22 minutes.
It's very long. Oscar host Jimmy Kimmel has hosted 8 award shows before the Oscars, including the Emmys and the AMAs.
And that's all you really need to know about the Oscars because it's somewhat unnecessary.
But it's very necessary.
Before we bring our interviewer on today, we're going to give you a quick inside peek of BuffaLouie's. Take a look.
I am so excited to have my fellow New Yorker and owner of the famous BuffaLouie's, Ed Schwarzman, with us this morning. Ed, welcome. Welcome.
Well, I'm honored. You're excited. I'm excited.
We're,
I'm more excited.
we are very excited,
What
let
a
me
beautiful
tell you.
set, and it's just gorgeous.
Thank you.
And a live audience. It's unbelievable. Hold it down, folks.
Really great. Let's talk about you. Why did you leave the East Coast and come to Bloomington?
It's part of the witness relocation program. That's a joke. Don't. Okay. That's my standard line.
You're very funny.
My theory is anytime you meet a fish out of water like myself, it usually involves an ex-wife, and in my case, that's what happened. So my first wife is from Maryville, Indiana, the region as it's known, and we were married 20 years. And anyway, I came out here for love, and then I stayed, and I wound up having the opportunity to come down to Bloomington, and the rest is history. I mean, there's a lot of details. I don't know how much I want to bore you or your audience with, but I've been in the state of Indiana for 30 years, and I've lived down here in Bloomington for 10.
So I have to ask, you started this restaurant, BuffaLouie's. Where did the name come from?
Okay, I did not start it. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure which way to go to all these questions, but my wife and I bought it about 8-9 years ago from the original owners. So I'm not the founder, but hopefully we are carrying on the tradition and the legacy of what they established, and I think we are, and we hear that a lot, so that makes me feel good. But the name BuffaLouie's, when Jay Leeser, the founder, who was from Buffalo, who now lives in Munster, Indiana, when he convinced his parents to open up the restaurant on 17th Street, not where we are now, they needed a name, of course, and his grandfather's name was Lou. Lou was from Buffalo. BuffaLouie, Buffalo, BuffaLouie's, and that's how. And so the caricature is actually a real person. It's Lou Leeser, pardon me, who passed away long before the store ever opened. And every picture you'll see of Lou, and we have a couple of them in the restaurant, he always has the ever-present stogie or cigar with him. So it's not like we just made up a character. And once in a blue moon, somebody will come in and say, I think it's terrible that your logo is smoking a cigar. Well, that's who he was. He was a real man named Lou Leeser from Buffalo, New York. So that's the name.
Awesome.
You clearly love what you do. What makes you so passionate about it?
Well, there's all kinds of great commercials. If you enjoy what you do in life, then you never have to work a day in your life. I don't really work. I mean, if you come in the store, I might be sweating, I might be hustling, but I'm just hosting a party. I'm doing the same thing I did in college, but now I'm getting paid to do it. So it's just fun. It's just absolutely fun. Of course, there are pressures. There's a quote that I just heard from Joe Madden, who's the manager of the Chicago Cubs, and said, never let the pressure of the job exceed the pleasure of the job. And every job has pressure. Every job should have pleasure. And we just try real hard to focus on the pleasure. And hopefully that comes through, when the customers come in, the vibe, the energy. To me, that's more important than the quality of the food, even though I think the food is pretty darn good. And based on the reviews we get, and the national notoriety, we're doing okay there too. But without the vibe, without the energy, without the passion, I think that's all, we're not in business. And we've been around for 30 years already, which, a lot of restaurants haven't even been around, 30 days. They come and go. So that says something.
Mm-hmm. So what's one of the most memorable experiences that you've had with BuffaLouie's?
Well, there's tons of them, and they just keep coming. I mean, just in the last 4 days. So, and by the way, boys and girls, you at home, these questions were not set up in advance. So in the last 4 days, we've had a proposal in the restaurant. Tonight is senior day at IU, and we only have one senior, Colin Hartman. His family could have called up any restaurant in Bloomington to said, after the game, we'd like to meet at your place. They're eating at our place. And this stuff happens all the time, almost every. And I grew up in New York, and as a New Yorker, I was a huge sports fan. My dream would have been, not to be running a sports bar or sports-themed restaurant, but to have my picture on the wall, as one of the athletes. And obviously that didn't work out, but they come in all the time. Almost every recruit you see on the basketball team, the football team, the swim team, on and on. Their first meal in Bloomington is usually at our place, which blows me away that the coaches have such high regard for our place and our energy. So those are just a couple of examples, and I've been able to befriend just through doing business on a daily basis. We've been able to befriend athletes, movie stars, you name it, and then just the regular student body. It's one thing to be recruited and get a scholarship, but how about the 95% of the kids who bust their tail and get to go to school here? They are the finest young men and women. I mean, I'm just honored to live in this city and interact with fine young people like the two of you. I mean, it happens every day. I've never ever had a bad interaction. I mean, I've been running the store for 10 years. We've owned it for about 7. The only time I ever had to kick out a kid, he was drunk. And was obnoxious, which reminded me a lot of when I was in college. But to show you the cut of his jib, he came in the next day and apologized to me, which I wound up buying him lunch. I said, that you told me more about yourself than you didn't have to. I didn't know your name. If I never saw you again, that'd be okay. But he came in and apologized to me. I mean, I've never had a bad interaction with the students. They're just great young men and women. And if we don't muck it up too much, I think our country's in good shape because you guys are great. I kind of rambled on there. I tend to do that.
That's okay. Great. We love that. Seriously.
You like rambling? Okay.
Yes, I get you. What type of dining experience do you want your customers to get out of your restaurant?
Well, I'm all about cliches, and the reason cliches work is because they stick is because they make sense. And I once read somewhere, I don't even know where it was, that customers will long forget what they had to eat in your place, but they'll remember the feeling. So if you come back as an alumni 5, 10, 15 years from now, you may or may not remember. Hopefully, if you've been in the store enough, you might remember whether you like sweet barbecue wings, our burgers, our salads. But more importantly, you'll walk by the building and go, wow, I remember feeling really good in there. I remember having a lot of fun in there. So when you ask me what's the most important thing, is that they leave with a good feeling, a warm smile on their face or a nice place in their heart, like, that was fun. I mean, let's face it, we eat 3 meals a day, 365 days a year, 1,000 meals a year. How many of them are memorable? How many of them stand out? And it might not be the food. It usually isn't. Because if we had the greatest food in the world, but we were a bunch of not nice people, we wouldn't be in business. So to me, it's the feeling. Obviously, the food has to be consistent, but also the smiles have to be consistent. The energy has to be consistent. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yes.
okay.
Certainly.
Perfect.
Now, Gabby has a little bit of a specific question for you regarding the food.
Okay.
Okay, ready. If I were to walk in right now and I was craving something kind of spicy but not too much,
Okay.
but also a little, like really flavorful,
Okay.
very crunchy, what would you recommend?
Well, well, you said crunchy at the end there, so that, up until then I was going one direction. Now I
Okay.
might be going a different direction.
Okay.
I'm obviously a little bit older than you know, the student population, and so we have traditional wings and we have boneless wings. But between you, me, and all the millions and millions of people going to watch this video, millions, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the
With
goal.
you, yes.
Yes, fair
Yes.
enough. Boneless wings are not really wings; they're nuggets, but people know that.
They're so good.
So yeah, I understand. Your generation loves breaded products, so I was going to go with the traditional wing up until the point where you said crunchy. So I would say boneless wings, maybe medium Q, hot garlic. So it's something tangy but not too hot. But the truth is, it's
Perfect.
kind of like going to Baskin Robbins. There's 31 flavors. They're all good except for maybe bubblegum ice cream. I think they might have gotten rid of it because nobody eats bubblegum ice cream except my daughter. But nonetheless, so you really can't go wrong. I mean, we make all our sauces from scratch. And so it's all kind of subject to taste. But I would say medium barbecue, maybe if you're not sure.
Perfect.
Okay?
So
Great
to wrap
custom
it up,
order.
sorry.
No, you're
To
fine.
wrap it up, both you and Gabby are proud New Yorkers, as I know. So we have to do a little New York accent here and see whose is better.
Okay.
The classic accent. I just you know, Ed, listen. See, I could just go on. I could just talk like this the entire
Oh, yeah,
time.
now you're pouring it on.
Do you know what you hear what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's here. Can I? You have it. It's,
Well, I do have it. I've been out of New York for 30 plus years, and you know, there's certain words that I really butcher, like mirror, which is
Mirror.
Right. Yeah.
how you say mirror?
Mirror. Yeah,
Mirror.
I can't even say it.
Okay.
I mean, my wife. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like.
Do you
do
say?
it.
There's a bear on Sesame Street who has a lisp. You know, he says Rosita, baby bear. You know, mirror. Anyways, that's kind of how I say it.
Right.
Mirror. I don't say
Mirror.
POP if you want to drink. It's
It's soda.
soda. Yeah.
It is soda.
SODER. Soda.
Soda.
Yeah.
Idea.
Laura is LAURER. Laura.
What about water? Water?
Water.
Water?
Water. You want some
Water. New York.
Water?
Yeah.
Talk.
And the funny thing is, I cannot
Drink
turn
your
it off.
water in the Mia.
Yeah. In the mirror. Yeah. Drinking soda.
I could
in
do
the
it.
mirror.
I could basically do it.
This is great.
It's not a very pretty accent.
See,
Let's
I
face
love
the
it.
facts. But it's very distinguishable.
It is.
And it's it's who I am.
It is.
It's the recipe. It's how it came out. It's the way it is. So at this point, I just embrace it.
Awesome.
Now, where are you from?
Well,
I agree.
Indiana, man.
Oh.
Yeah,
So that was
homegrown
pretty good.
Hoosier.
That was pretty good, by the way. That accent. Thank you.
My pleasure.
This was
thank you for coming.
so great. We loved this, seriously. If you're craving some wings, make sure to visit Ed and the entire BuffaLouie's crew right down the street on Indiana Avenue.
And be sure to follow BuffaLouie's on all social media at BuffaLouie's for more updates and special deals.
Since we're on the topic of social media, be sure to follow us at BTown Be Fast Club, and don't forget to use the hashtag BTown Be Fast.
Join us Monday mornings for a weekly recap of news, sports, and entertainment. We'll see you next week, Hoosiers.